Bungie caught scamming again? Question mark? Let's find out.
I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor, here to spread the cheer. Join me on this adventure, where gaming wipes away the tears.
Scholars, welcome back to the counselor's office. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. There's been a lot of things happening. We had the state of play, and then all the stuff going on Destiny 3 being spammed, and then we had the launch of season 2 for Marathon, which was a complete failure, and even now as we speak is actually still a complete failure. It's a Friday night and the population is going down into the dirt. But as Summerfest was going on and before that going on, there was something that was popped up that is now being addressed. Bungie may have been caught false advertising Marathon. Now we're gonna watch this video by Lucky Timpy. I haven't reacted to Lucky Timpy in a long time, but I want to go ahead and cover this because I think based on a little bit of, I watched the first minute or so, I was like, okay, he's got the facts. I wanted to know because there's a lot of misinformation going on specifically. Now, I do want to go ahead and address that Bungie has gone and made an announcement. So this is what their official announcement is. That way we can have this, post-net clarity. We've been made aware of an issue on the PlayStation Store where players could purchase the deluxe edition of Marathon at a mitigated price if they added Marathon to their library during the open play week. Purchasing the deluxe edition this way does not include the base game. So right off the rip, you could buy this straight up. By the way, the only way to, you bought the deluxe edition, you think, oh, the deluxe edition, that's great. But apparently what it was is that this is actually an upgrade. Which I didn't realize. If you have the base version of anything, the deluxe edition's on discount. So it makes you think that it's the whole deluxe edition that's on discount, but no, the system is broken, which still is false advertisement because it makes you think when you go to look at it, or when you could, it was just the deluxe edition. You thought you're buying the deluxe edition, had nothing to do with, saying the open week, nothing like that. It was discounted and you're like, oh, you load up and you're gonna like, oh, okay, $14, I'll buy that. I guess that's what people were doing, right? And we've updated the PlayStation Store message to clarify, which they have to legally, they have to clarify because it's called false advertisement. I know there's a lot of people trying to defend this, but when you advertise something and it's misleading or people weren't aware of what they were actually purchasing, it's called false advertisement. You can be sued. Bungie could be sued. It could be considered a scam if you don't, right? So this is exactly why they made this decision, by the way. For those of you that made this purchase before the messaging was posted on the store page, you will be granted the base edition of Marathon at no additional cost. This is in addition to the deluxe edition content. More info on timing will come soon. They have to do this because you could sue them. They advertised the deluxe edition. You bought the deluxe edition, had nothing to do to say about prices being it doesn't matter if it was a whoopsie, Sony messed up or Bungie messed up because of the free week. None of that matters. Negligence isn't an excuse. You can't use that in a court of law. You could be sued for false advertisement. Going forward, please note that if you download Marathon during the open play week but not purchase Marathon, purchasing the deluxe edition upgrade will only grant you access to the deluxe edition content for the duration of the open play week, after which accessing this content will require purchase of the Marathon base edition. The price of the deluxe edition upgrade on the PlayStation Store reflects only the edition content add-ons, not the base edition price, which again, now that it is actually part of the descriptor, it's showing what people are actually purchasing. There's no excuse, right? They can't be like, I didn't know. Well, it's there. There's a reason why on like products, there's, here's the perfect one. Warning. Cap is a small part and poses a choke hazard, particularly for children. Do you know why that's on there? Because a kid choked on the cap, and guess what? They sued. This company got sued. And or something within the ballpark of this company got sued. And out of fear, this is why there's now disclaimers on these bottles to let you know that you think, oh, it's common sense. Oh, well, duh, kids shouldn't be having that. That's the parents' fault. No, sorry. You have to put a disclaimer to what people are actually purchasing. And in this case, they're disclaiming that if you buy this, you do not get access to the full deal during the open week. They clarified that, and that's important because if they do more of these, which it seems like they probably will, as long as Marathon is, floating around. Whenever they do a new season, this is probably the new norm. So going forward, this would be in the wisest decision for them. Or if they do free weekends, like Call of Duty does, they have to put that disclaimer because there's consumer rights. And here's the deal. Consumer rights are usually pretty aggressive to protect the consumer. Games have kind of skirted this for a while, especially ownership right. But in general, when you buy a product, if it's misleading, usually that's a pretty easy lawsuit. That's why everyone usually sues if there's not a disclaimer, or if someone gets hurt because of a product, it doesn't disclaim it. And some of the stupidest disclaimers you see are because someone successfully sued a company over it. I know there's a lot of, Marabots out there that think they're lawyers, that, we got this guy right here who's desperately trying to defend this issue of Sony Storefront handles SKUs. Like, this guy is trying his damnedest. I don't even know who this guy is. Trying his damnedest to defend and be like, yo, it's not false advertisement. This was done, blah, 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 blah. Like, and I keep saying the same thing. It's not false advertisement if it's not an intended outcome. No, it doesn't matter. It's false advertisement, which is exactly why they honored the people who bought it after they updated the description and added a clear warning. Like, again, you can't just play ignorance or negligence. It doesn't matter if it was an intended outcome. Do you know how many kids, was it intended for a kid to swallow this? Do you think the company of this water bottle is like, you know what? I want kids to swallow the bottle cap. No, or bottle, yeah, no, that wasn't it. So now they have to disclaim it because stupid people. If I'm being brutally honest, there are some stupid disclaimers that companies have to do because stupid people. However, this is not one of those cases of people being stupid. It's just they see Deluxe Edition, which if you go to Destiny, there's the Deluxe Edition. Guess what? You think you're buying, the whole, if it's the year of prophecy, you think you're buying the whole year of prophecy or whatever it showcases. That's what you get, which in that case you do. So again, negligence and ignorance, it doesn't matter the intent, you can still be sued for false advertisement if you do not honor it. Anyways, that was a nice little 8 minutes, my own thoughts, because I wanted to address it, but we're gonna watch good old Lucky 10P. He does, he brings some information that I wasn't aware of it, so I kind of want to listen more to it. But yes, this was immediately addressed after massive backlash. There was also like Smash JT covered it, and I wanted to react to a video. I figured Lucky 10P is a lot safer to react to than Smash JT. People absolutely hate Smash JT.
Cracked down on a crazy cheese exploit. I don't know what to even call this, truly. Marathon Deluxe Edition description changed by Sony after players bought the game for just $14 during the free trial. Really, this shows just how incompetent Bungie is at times, that they didn't think this through.
By the way, incompetence is not an excuse for false advertisement.
So you could load in for this week right now and you could play the game free to play.
You could.
So basically you are given the license for the free to play for the game, right? Like the $40 base game. So you could go in and then purchase the deluxe edition for $14, which would mean that after this trial, you would theoretically have the full game, the deluxe edition, for $14, which actually, honestly, considering how bad Marathon's population is, they should just let people keep it and play.
And they did. Technically, I don't think, it would be funny to say they did this because of that. But let's be honest, they had to honor it because it's, again, you could get sued for false advertisement.
But now there's a big question and a big controversy that's brewing, which is, will people be able to continue playing afterwards? Will you
Now
have
they
bought
will.
the deluxe edition and not be able to play the game?
Now they
Will
will.
Sony have to issue a bunch of refunds to these players? What is going to happen to the people that cheese this? With this week's
I don't think it was a cheese though. Like, I think someone noticed it and they were like, "Oh, like if I'm being a gent, like, if I'm downloading it and I look at the store, see how, and I'm looking at what they have for sale, and you see deluxe edition for $14, you're like, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they're doing a discount. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very cynical and say they're doing a discount because they're desperate for sales to get numbers. They want retention, and they're just going to discount as much. Like, that's me, right? I'm going to be cynical. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, oh, someone's cheesing this. I just feel like it's just like, hey, you know, they're desperate. They need some sales.
Season 2 kickoff for Marathon, the disaster. We need to give it a name. What's a good title for Season 2's launch?
Well, let's see. So it launched. It didn't launch on day one, really. It was like day 1.5. And then let's see, they've already nerfed some of the progression because people were complaining about that. When I say people, I mean the veterans complaining about it. So, rest in peace, anyone that was trying to jump in for the first time. And then complaining about how it's so easy to get gold now, yada, yada. What else was considered? They nerfed Rook, which a lot of people are upset about for the solos. So they're upset about that. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what is a laundry list of failures. There was quite a bit, to be honest. Quite a bit. So I would say season of the flop.
On 10 hours of downtime on launch.
Season of the flop.
It got the
By the way, he's pulling up charts, and just to be double annoying for the people that are hate watching, here's a Friday night. Damn, on a Friday night, and you can't even get your peak on a Tuesday. You get like, oh, well, that's going on. The servers were down. Well, next day, guess what? June 3rd, it was up by a little bit more, and then it's gone down since that. So Wednesday went up, and it's gone down, and it's a free week, and it's going to be free 2 weeks, apparently, because it goes into next week, because they're desperate. That's how desperate they are. They're desperate to keep having people playing. They like, please, please, please. We need to pad these numbers for as many weeks as possible. So when Sony goes to gaslight shareholders and say, look, we have high retention. We got so many players. It's popping off. This is all corporate, by the way. This is all intentional. They're trying to pad the numbers so that way they can grease the palms and gaslight their shareholders by being, twisting the truth. They're lying, but in a way that isn't illegal, right? They're not giving the whole picture. They're just giving the truth, but in a different outlook, right?
chode shape graphic. What do you call it? Season 2, season of the chode right here. Sony is also hoping to rope in new players by running an open play week for the extraction shooter.
It's been extended, by the way. Did I mention that? It's been extended to the June 11th. Isn't that interesting? Overlapping Destiny 2?
With progress carrying over if players bought the game. Players quickly discovered that downloading the open play week version allowed them to purchase Marathon's Deluxe edition for just $14, which means open play week participants only need to pay the difference between the standard edition and the Deluxe edition. Oh man, if you're thinking of capitalizing on that loophole to get Marathon for cheap, that's not an option anymore. Dude, they're not getting any money out of me. And not out of any Destiny players either, that's for sure. They've had enough.
I mean, I heard about this, that even when people were talking about the loophole, I'm like, $14 for a Marathon? I could have capitalized on it. Well, I was like, not even for $5, but sorry, bud, not for $5. Absolutely not buying that trash. I'll play it for free, but that's it. There you go. I'll play it for free, but that's it.
As Sony changed how it works, and it's reflected in Marathon's store page too.
And when I say play, I'm going to play it for like a day to do a brutally first impressions of season 2, and then I'm done.
They jumped on top of it. They got it. Marathon Deluxe Edition discount from Open Week Trial Week plugged by Sony. Wonder how many hours this lasted for. After players found
Who
this
knows?
little loophole, Sony has now changed the Marathon Deluxe Edition's
They
description
have to
make it clear that
legally they have to. They legally have to tell you what you're buying. They have to put the disclaimer. They cannot just let you think. You can't buy, go and buy buy a brand new car like from a dealership, right? Brand new, not used, brand spanking new, and it's missing the engine. They can't just be like, here's a brand new car, and then not give the disclaimer that when you buy the car, you're not getting the full car, you're just getting the frame. You need to buy the engine to get the whole package.
those who have downloaded and played Marathon during the open play
By the way, why would you buy that separately? I don't know, but it makes sense in its own little world.
week and then purchase the Deluxe Edition will only get add-ons, not the complete game. No way.
Yeah, bait.
That's messed up.
It is. It's a bait.
So you paid for content and you're just not even going to get to play it after the week is over? They
Yeah.
got to
And that is why they changed it, and they honored by letting people keep the whole shebang bang, giving them the base version, because you have to disclaim what someone's actually buying. Again, legal. I feel like the Key and Peele skit where they're on the airplane and he's asking him to buckle up, please, and he's like, but I don't need to because it's not. Is it illegal? Legal? In this case, it is illegal.
refund people. Ain't no way you can get away with this.
No, it's
It
illegal.
now reads, quote, please note that if you have already downloaded Marathon during the open play week, but have not purchased Marathon, purchasing this product will grant access to the Deluxe Edition content only for the duration of the open play week, after which accessing this content will require purchase of the Marathon Standard Edition. That's crazy. You got to take the right approach here and say, that's our bad. We messed up. You guys will be granted the whole game.
Which they did, but technically it wasn't our bad. It's please don't sue. Technically, no one can sue them. Just make it clear. I'm not saying it's false advertisement now. It would if the moment that people lost access, so in a week or two, if they chose not to do this, it would be considered false advertisement. They could be sued, but they have gone ahead. Like, no one's lost access. People are still playing with what they purchased, and they're not going to lose that. They're going to keep what they purchased. Therefore, it's no longer people. They're honoring what they put out there, and anything going forward from this cut time since whenever they changed the disclaimer. Now they're not held responsible if you're stupid enough to buy it, even though it clearly says, "Hey, you're not actually buying the full game." Like, it's actually in the disclaimer now, so now they're not. You can't put them on the hook for that. But so technically, they wouldn't be liable for a lawsuit, even if they completely were in the wrong, until after people lost access to what they purchased.
Good on you for finding this, and it's now patched and fixed, and it's not going to happen anymore. You got to
It should
take the
never
high
happen.
ground here. You can't play this game right now. This is a bad one. This is a bad move. You could use the players anyways. I mean, if these players were willing to fork over $14, let them play the damn game.
True.
The game's only worth, it started off as $40. It's 33% off, so it's like 20 something bucks anyways. Just let them have it at that point.
Yeah.
The price displayed reflects only the Deluxe Edition content add-ons, not the Standard Edition price. Wow. Prior to the description change, the Deluxe Edition listing appeared to include the base game, leading some players to believe they could permanently purchase.
See, that right there, that is where they would have been liable to be sued. The fact, again, when you are a consumer, you look at a product, it is leading you to believe, based on the description, that it would appear to include the base game. Now that they have just cleared that up, it's no longer the case. People who had it are honored. There is no potential lawsuit here. At least I don't think so. Again, I'm not a lawyer either, but I know the basics of what false advertisement is, because I worked in a place where we were told, like at Walmart, you're told specifically for prices and all that stuff, you have to be careful because you would have to honor what your mess up. If I priced a TV wrong, well, guess what? It's false advertisement. Now, there's certain instances where they didn't get the full price. They might get like a 50% decrease instead if it was a really big mess up. But most cases, if it was something was put in the wrong spot, it was like $30, but it was put into like a $26 spot, they would just go ahead and, you know, here it is. There's your price. We're going to go ahead and honor that. Again, it's not black and white, at least probably not anymore. But technically, most places will honor if it's something that they put in their description and or what they're selling for their product. Most, again, you have to have disclaimers for specific things. If not, you are liable.
Marathon for the discount price. What? We got to get a screenshot of what it said before. If it said the base game included and then they changed it, this could be like lawsuit level stuff. This is
could
bad.
have been.
In short, Open Trial Week players will now need to buy Marathon at full price if they want to own it and play it beyond this week. While I understand why Sony immediately plugged this loophole, it's one that's not going over well for fans. Dude, I'm sure people are so mad right now.
Yeah.
Some community members mentioned, wow, this is exactly why people hate Bungo, bro. And I play Marathon every day. What? This is shit.
Again, no one kills Bungie's reputation. Not people posting, you know, charts. Bungie themselves does everything possible to shoot themselves in the foot. Like you don't even have to do anything. No one has to post a single Steam chart or say anything. Bungie will do everything to sabotage themselves. Quite literally, I have never seen a company try to kill themselves.
Person asked whether this result could end in a lawsuit for Sony, stating, "You think this could be a lawsuit?" The Deluxe Edition description seemed pretty clear about including Marathon. This absolutely could. I don't know how many people were.
It could have. The moment that they removed the ability to play, the moment the open play ended, they would have been open up to lawsuits. But I don't think so anymore.
Affected by this, but this absolutely could be a lawsuit especially if it's false advertisement and you take people's money and then you don't give them the product that they were promised and then you don't issue a refund.
Yep.
This is disaster. This is crazy. On the game subreddit, community members aren't pleased either, as some think this is a pricing error and whoever's in charge of setting the pricing logic is the one who should be held responsible.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it was some dude named Steve that messed up in, marketing, whatever. They are still Sony, Bungie, whoever is liable. They have to honor that because that's what they put out there. And if someone purchased it, you have to honor it, or you could be sued for false advertisement.
Well, who did that? What intern Andy pulled that off? Whoever
Steve
did that
marketing
and whoever
hates
launched the servers for 10 hours with a bug on day 1 of season 2, you guys are not cooking, dude. That's why people were speculating and why former Bungie devs said that the Marathon team is made up of the Bungie devs that people didn't like, the ones that were really hard to get along with, which is actually such a messed up thing to say.
But it makes so much sense now. You're telling me that people at Bungie were saying, yeah, the Marathon team is made of the most insufferable people in the Bungie company, and that even their own people don't like them. Now it makes sense why the Marathon community is the way it is. They fostered the community that's just like them. No one likes them. No one takes them seriously. They're the butt of everyone's joke. It makes so much sense why the Marathon community is just like the Marathon devs. No one likes them. Who would have thought?
I didn't say it, though. They said it. The Bungie devs that got laid off said, yeah, they took all the annoying people, the people that were difficult to deal with, and they threw them onto Marathon. From doing the Destiny, you're working on Destiny one day, and they're like, you know what, Dale, you're really annoying. Go play Marathon now. Go make Marathon.
Go and foster a community that's also really annoying.
How funny is that?
Make sure they're really sensitive to Steam charts, so every time someone has it, they have a spastic attack. Yeah, we make sure that they go on an actual mental breakdown the moment they see data points. Really foster that with the community, okay, Dale? Thanks, Dale.
Blame Sony for not creating a new Marathon game client for the free trial, since the Open Play Week version is just the standard edition, the base game
that
client,
was pretty stupid,
as seen on the PlayStation Store. Yeah, so that is obviously the big detail here, is that they needed to make its own game client for the free trial. It shouldn't have just been the base game. But I imagine that this is probably this way because the game might very well go free to play pretty soon at this rate.
Could be.
The population is going to be too tough.
I'm going to make this prediction. The moment it goes to free to play, it's going to become the next High Guard. You know it's on death's doors. The moment they go to free to play, you know this game is on death's doors. It's going to die. That's going to be the real red flag. The moment it becomes free to play, ding, 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 ding. Get your popcorn out, kids. You're watching a game die.
To handle that, there's just no other solution. It's either it goes free to play or they just drop an article, which is, you know, dear marathon players, every end is a new beginning, right? There's only two options at this point. Right.
Okay, that was fucking funny. New beginning, guys. We're going back to our roots, guys. We're making a battle royale myth. Aren't you excited for myth?
Unsure whether those who managed to buy the complete version of Marathon at just $14 were able to keep the game. If you were one of those who bought it thinking it's just $14, you can request a refund. Oh, good. You can request it. We need to find out.
That was a bait. If you really liked Marathon and you got your refund, you are pounding the wall right now. You're beating your head. You are absolutely strangling your dangle.
If people were able to request a refund and get it back. This is yet another bump in the road for Bungie as the studio announced the end of live service content for Destiny 2 just 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they killed our game for this dumpster fire.
And now they're trying to kill their game right now.
The studio isn't even working on Destiny 3 and that layoffs are expected. Brutal. Do you think Sony should offer the $14 deal for gamers who already bought it? Absolutely. Honor the deal, guys.
They have. Well, first off, they are. And secondly, they have to.
Honor the deal. If people were willing to pay money for this, let them play. You could use all the players you can get right now. You do not.
I mean, if people have the original snapshot and they can show that, hey, this is the description and it is pretty, there is no like wiggle room of like, it is, hey, this is what you're buying. And there's nothing at all about whether it's open week or not. And it's the description proceeds to show you that, hey, you're getting the base Marathon. They could be sued. Yes, they could have.
Want to burn any bridges. With how Marathon's been received so far by the gaming community, another bit of bad news isn't exactly what the game needs. Yeah, they could do without the bad PR right now. I mean, this is disastrous. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for Marathon, and it continues. It's a never-ending cycle of fuck-ups. And this is just the newest iteration. This is just the newest chapter.
Just wait. We kept track of Destiny. We said, just wait. Bungie's always breaking or doing something wrong every week. It's becoming now starting to see with Marathon. So just wait. There's more.
For Marathon. How crazy, how bizarre is that? Someone said, good luck trying to get a refund from PlayStation. I guess that's true. On Steam, they let you refund something if you haven't played for 2 hours, but maybe PlayStation is a bit more finicky. I haven't tried to ever get a refund from PlayStation. I can imagine they're probably a bit obnoxious.
They are.
But if they don't issue refunds, like, for example, if there's people that request them and they publicly share them on Reddit or Twitter and they get denied, or they have to go through some lengthy, exhausting process that, you know, is just obnoxious, right? There's going to be a big stink thrown up about it. People are going to be annoyed. People are going to put up.
I'm going to imagine, since they had planned to make everyone get the free base, I'm certain Sony refunded every person that requested the refund. I have a strange feeling the amount of money. Well, maybe not. Maybe they're like, hey, that's $14 we probably wouldn't get anyways. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. If you were Sony, would you keep people's $14 and let them have the full game? Or would you refund them? And when I say let them keep, deny them the refund and then give them the free later. Or would you go ahead and give them the refund in hopes that they would buy the full game later and make more money than the $14 you got? Let me know in the comments down below. That's an interesting question. What do you think Sony would actually do? I thought maybe they would refund it, hope that they, you know, knowing Sony, they're greedy. So I'm imagining that their goal is to get as much money as possible. I think Bungie themselves might be desperate enough to take the $14, but I don't know. Sony just doesn't seem to care. They just like, hey, we want money.
A big fight. And I don't think Sony wants to get in any legal trouble. I think it would be
think that part's
wise for
true.
them to issue all of the refunds for anyone that purchased it for that $14 price tag. Just across the board, issue all refunds and an apology for that, because that was a big
Well,
blunder
they
on
didn't do
them.
that.
That, or just let them play the game. That's actually best case scenario.
They did.
Because the refunds mean that those players, they might still play because they got their money back, so maybe they're like neutral. But if you let those players play for $14 for the deluxe edition, they're going to feel like, hey, we pulled the fast one. And they're going
I
to...
don't know if I would say, again, that's just assuming people knew or thought this was a loophole. Again, some people download it and might have noticed the price change, or when maybe they liked the game. They're like, oh, I like this game, let me buy it. And so they went to buy it and they said, oh, $14 for the deluxe edition. Oh, it's a discount, bet. Listen, I don't want to assume that everyone's out here, like, I know it's that we're thinking Destiny, everyone's trying to cheese, but like, I do believe there's some people that probably genuinely did go to try to buy it and saw it as a discount for the deluxe edition and bought it, right?
Feel good about it like that. They're going to have good feelings about it, which I think is the best case scenario here. You'll have a few more players. You'll come across as the company that is, the cool guys. That's what you want. You want to have some reputation going for you.
Again, I don't think it has anything to do with cool guys. I think the reputation's fried. This is more of like, hey, don't sue us. Like legalese, don't sue us. Wait, a Bungie product where players lose access to content they paid for? That's so unprecedented. I can't believe any studio could do such a thing. It's funny because they do that. But anyways, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. The link to Lucky's video, give it a like. He put some effort. Listen, people seem to hate Lucky, calling him like the Asmongold of what Destiny. Like, I don't see it. I just see he's just reporting what people don't want, which is the same reason why people don't like Paul Tassi and why people are starting to really hate Astacross. Is because they don't fit the narrative that people want. And you know what? Suck it up, Buttercup, because there's going to be a lot more people that you don't like or agree with. By the way, you don't have to, like, just because I don't mind Lucky doesn't mean you have to agree with me. Like, you can just don't be an asshole. Like, don't go after his family or talk about his family. Like, that's kind of like the line in the sand. It's like, he doesn't care as long as you're not sitting there. Even if you don't mean anything by it, just don't talk about his family, right? Just leave his family out of it, right? But like, there's some really unhinged people that keep talking about his family and making up lies, and that's, listen, I would punch back too if I was him. So talk about him and leave his family alone, okay? But I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe to the channel for more, and let me know again if you were Sony. Would you go ahead and issue those refunds in hopes that you can get more money out of people later? Or would you just straight up, deny it and give everyone, like they did, right? They decided to give everyone the full copy if you bought it, right? So let me know. What do you think Sony would do, right? What would you do if you were Sony? I'll see you in the next one.